afternoon. I'm back in County Mayo. So I'm back to a place I haven't been in a good few years, the North Mayo Sea Cliffs. And I'm going to take it nice and easy, so I'm going to camp out for 2 nights. The weather's absolutely gorgeous here out in the west of Ireland. It's warm, it's sunny and it's breezy. So just great conditions for being out along the coast and for a bit of wild camping. I've reached the coast and this is the first bit of climbing on the route. So this is Benwee Head, so I'll climb up and over that and then drop down to a wee cove and beach on the other side. It's pretty breezy up here in Benwee Head, but the wind's blowing in off the sea, so that sort of gives a wee bit of sense of safety. I just need to watch the hat doesn't go. So that's back along Benwee Head, just about to drop off, and down there on the storm beach there's a group of seals holed up, and I am back in the breeze again, which maybe you can tell, but it's still a glorious evening here. I'm well off Benwee Head, and that stack you can see there is Haig Island, and out in the distance you can see the stags of Broadhaven. Really cool stacks a wee bit further out. So I have another wee climb ahead of me, and then a drop down to Portacloy. And when I was here before, just did Benwee Head itself and camped. There's a nice wee river down the other side near the beach where I camped. So it's nearly 8 o'clock, so that may be a possibility for this evening. Well, this whole area of cliff here is very, very unstable. Lots of landslips, and you can see where it's been eaten away way back, and this bit I'm standing on has actually slipped. It's maybe slipped a couple of feet, so I would say at some stage in the not too distant future this will be collapsing down into the sea below. In 1939 there was a series of coastal watches established around the coastal Republic of Ireland, I suppose just as World War II was starting, and there was 82 of them around the coast, and number 63 is here at Portacloy in Mayo. Now this one has fallen into sort of pretty bad disrepair, but they're actually, there's a wheelbarrow and everything in there, so they're actually restoring it, which is pretty cool. And look at the view up along this coast. You can see for miles and miles and miles. And they've actually a big like Eire 63 on the ground, made out of stones, and that was again, I suppose, for aircraft coming over. They could see that they were crossing over into Ireland, which I suppose was notionally neutral during the Second World War. And I'll get a wee pic of that from the internet, and I'll stick it in here so you can actually see. I can see it coming down, but I just can't give you a sense of it here from the camera I have. It's just after 9 o'clock. I've done about 12 kilometers this evening, and I'm at this wee stream, and you know what, it's actually the exact same spot I camped at before. I don't know, there's something about that nostalgia, or going to something that's familiar, isn't there? So when I was here before, I actually bivvied just here beside the stream, and I'm just contemplating doing the same. Now there's a lot less breeze down here, but there still is a breeze, and if I just go up there maybe 15 feet or so higher, there's a good steady breeze. I love the sound of the river and the water flowing, so I'm going to bivvy here. I do have the tent and the bivvy with me on this trip, and I suppose that's just maybe in the back of my not so pleasant morning's experience, trying to bivvy down 3 times before I found the breeze. So I'll try the bivvy. Just after 10, so I've had my tea, I've had my food. It's a beautiful evening. There's still that wee breeze here, so there hasn't been a midge about all day. So I shall see you in the morning, so good night. Good morning. I had a wee bit of a lie in this morning, so I didn't get up to 7 o'clock. I had a really good night's sleep. Nice steady breeze throughout the night, so actually really cool. And there was like a half moon, and it sort of disappeared sort of below the horizon, and after midnight the sky just exploded in stars. And any time I woke up, I was just wanting to stare and stare and stare, and my eyes were saying, no, go to sleep, go to sleep. And I did see, I think 3 or 4 shooting stars, just absolutely beautiful. So I'm all packed up and all this morning, so that's my camp spot there. And as always, you should know I've been here, so that's following the Leave No Trace principles. And where we're going, I'm gonna drop down across the beach and climb up there, and that'll take me up over some more of the cliffs, and then that's the start of the really super cool part of the trip, where there's quite a stretch with literally just nothing apart from the stunning scenery. Now, this is some start to my walk this morning. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? This is Portacloy, and it's got the most stunning beach. The tide's well out, and there's some sea kayaks up there, so you would think that this sheltered bay would be a really cool place to do some kayaking. It's a view down on the Pig Island, and I don't know if you can see down there's a wee fishing boat down there, probably collecting lobsters, and I did see a fox just a couple of minutes ago, just over that way a wee bit, which was really cool. Just a flash, and then it was gone. There's actually another boat just appearing down there as well as I'm talking, and I'll just be dropping off now down to Portlurin. So I'm down in Portlurin, and it was a bit tricky coming off the hill because there's like lots of houses, but I made a beeline for the house with like a sort of obvious road coming up to it, and I was able to sort of get down past without anyone questioning or anyone about, so that might be an issue. And down in the wee sea inlet here, the tide's out, so I've been able to walk up along and cross over at the head of the inlet. Otherwise I would have had to do a bit of road walking, and would have added maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes or so onto the walk. Pretty much at sea level again, so the roller coaster ride continues, but that's one of the really cool things about walking along coastline like this. You do rack up the ascent and descent, and this actually would make a really cool wee camp spot. You just need to make sure that you've enough water in with you, but yeah, this will be a super spot. I've just got a few more hours of walking to do, otherwise I might have been tempted, but yeah, absolutely lovely. There's a wee spit of rain in the air, that certainly wasn't in the forecast for today. So I've just been up there, another part of the roller coaster, and that's some impressive cliffs. And there's some more to come over there. So that's about, I think, about 260 odd meters, and then just a hill in the background, that's Glinsk. So that's heading over 300 meters, so that'll be a high point along these cliffs in North Mayo, and then it'll be dropping down a bit towards the finish of Belderg. Well, the finish of the coastal walk, and then it'll be the road walk back. This is some serious cliff. That's just stunning. And listen to those waves crashing down there. Wow. I can pretty much see all that I've done so far. Really good viewpoint here, looking all the way back, and away in the distance you can even see Benwee Head. This is the top of Glinsk at just over 300 meters, the high point of this trip. It definitely feels a lot higher than 300 meters. It was pretty tight coming up there. I don't know if that's just, you know, part and parcel of rolling roller coaster landscape here, where you're constantly up and down. There's very little flat, and there's some pretty cool pools of water up here. And on the hill between Portacloy and Portlurin, I filled up from a wee loch like this there and just drank the water straight. It was clear as a bell and tasted really well, and I'm going to do the same here. So it's downhill all the way from here, thank goodness. I think it's about 5:30, 6 o'clock in late afternoon. And I'll find somewhere on the way down the camp for this evening. So I've made the final climb of the day up Benwee to 196 meters, and I suppose the original plan was to drop all the way down to Belderg. It's now 7:30. I don't feel like dropping down at all, so I'm going to stay up here at 196 meters. Now there is a fierce wind coming from the west, and up that western side of Benwee, it would blow the head off you. But just walking maybe 20 meters to the east where I'm at now, it's pretty calm. There's still a wee steady breeze, so I'm going to set up camp here, and it's pretty good ground. I've got my water. I can chill out and relax, maybe for a couple of hours, maybe even see the sunset, and then get down to sleep. So that's the plan now. So it's 9:30. It's quite chilly now, just with the sun down and that stiff breeze. It really is a stiff breeze. But again, that's okay, because you're landing a bivvy bag close to the ground. It's a lot quieter, and again, it'll keep the midges at bay. And again, just sitting in or landing in a bivvy bag, you know, being able to stare straight up at the sky, and it is a clear sky. So there was absolute clouds of stars last night, as I said earlier, and that may well be the case tonight. So I'm going to get in here, get warm, and hopefully get a really cool night's sleep. So I'll see you in the morning again. Morning. Really windy night, so I've actually even had to move all my stuff down in the shelter of this peat bank. I was just worried about, when I was packing up the bivvy, everything blowing away off the hill, and there's no way I could have done any cooking or made tea up there. So let's just get moved by the shelter. It's only a few feet from where I was bivvying. But yeah, really windy night, quite cold as well. I was actually starting to maybe feel a wee bit of cold in my toes. Maybe that was just the strength of the wind. And I didn't have a great night's sleep compared to last night, which was pretty good. It took me a long time to get over to sleep. On the plus side, I was able to stare up at the stars, and I seen a couple more shooting stars, and again, just watching all those satellites whizzing past. But yeah, get tea and something to eat here, and I'll be on my way, dropping down to the road, and then walking all the way back to where I parked the car. So I've came about a kilometre and a half from Benwee, and you can see it over there. And I'm actually up the road. Yay! Now the ground there was pretty good going, but it is height of summer. So if you were going across that maybe at other times of year, it might be a totally different story in terms of how wet it is. So this road is actually part of a cycle network. When I was here before, I parked the car here, and we headed down and picked up the cliffs there, and then went up over a Glinsk and on down to just about Portlurin, and I had left the bike there, so I cycled furiously back up here. It was quite hilly actually, so it was a bit of a puff. To bring the bike back and pick the car up and then drive back. This is the old Portlurin National School, and it was built in 1897, obviously abandoned now. And this is where I left my bike when I was here the last time, and that's the hill that we finished on, and then we dropped down to the road to here, and I cycled all the way back to the car and drove the car back. So that's back to Portlurin. So I'm making really good progress, eating up the kilometres on the road here, and it's a really quiet road. There's only been a couple of cars. There's been hundreds of sheep. I'm nearly back at my starting point, and my original route isn't far off what the stats are telling me, so there'll be about 52 kilometres with about 1700 metres of climbing. So some of the highlights, just an absolutely glorious stretch of coastline along the cliffs here in North Mayo. I do think it would be hard to beat anywhere in Ireland, and it's just so remote as well. And I suppose if you are going, I would do it in fairly benign weather conditions. You know, there's some stretches with no phone signal. If you did have an injury out there, it could be a week or more before anyone might sort of come past you. And it is, there is quite a lot of exposure or potential exposure in places. So it's somewhere to maybe go with someone, or to go when the weather conditions are fairly calm and favourable. Certainly not if there's a strong wind blowing off the coast, where potentially a gust could maybe lift you and take you over the cliffs. But yeah, absolutely stunning stretch of coastline. I had a couple of really cool wild camps. The first one was a wee spot at Portacloy beside the river, where I had bivvied before. I bivvied in exactly the same spot. And the second one was up on Benwee, the last hill of the cliffs before they dropped to Belderg. Now it was really windy last night, so it didn't make for good sleeping. Yeah, but a fantastic trip. And I first read about this walking in, you know, some of those old Irish walking books that were produced maybe 30 more years ago, and these cliffs along North Mayo that were wild and remote, and it's been really cool to be able to walk pretty much the full length of those cliffs, and then the road walk back, because all those years ago, first reading it, there's no way I would have thought that I would have been able to do that. So yeah, absolutely fantastic, brilliant trip. And the 2 nights, it was nice to be out for the 2 nights and sort of 3 days as well. That's something I would like to do a wee bit more of. It just means bringing that wee bit extra food, so nothing too much else to carry. So yeah, nearly back, as I say, and until the next one, bye bye.